Thrawn just crapped himself in episode 7 when he found out that Ahsoka was actually the apprentice of the one and only General Anakin Skywalker. Yes, the same one that Thrawn knows very well turned into Darth Vader later during Imperial times. But what about Luke Skywalker now that he is back into the main galaxy? After the finale, we saw Thrawn finally leave this wretched place, as he called it, and now he will be facing the New Republic together with all that entails. And all that entails, of course, my friends, is one of the greatest Jedi to have ever lived, and that is a prime Luke Skywalker. Right now, he is at the peak of his powers, and what's worse, Thrawn has nobody to compare him to. I mean, who's he going to compare him to? The only two masters Luke had, Thrawn never actually met. Obi-Wan trained him for a time, and then Yoda. When it was for Ahsoka, he knew both Anakin and Vader, so he knew what to expect from Ahsoka, how to pre-plan and successfully complete his mission. Then the worst part is Leia, because he doesn't know Leia either, and Leia commands the defense forces of the New Republic. So the entire Skywalker family is about to rain hell upon Thrawn, and I don't think he is very much prepared for both of Anakin's children. To understand how Thrawn will get out of this, we need to talk about his relationship with Ahsoka, Anakin, and Darth Vader. Some of you might not know that Thrawn and Vader worked closely together during Imperial times, so Thrawn knows exactly what he's in for. But what he did afterwards was pretty genius. In Ahsoka Episode 5, Thrawn's Night Sister agent, Morgan Elsbeth, provides him with the data available on Ahsoka Tano by the Inquisitorius. So immediately we have some interesting things here. The data pad that was recovered from the Inquisitorius. How does Morgan Elsbeth have access to all of these Imperial data? It seems that the Imperial Remnant, she is still in contact with them, or at least has taken data available from them. The Imperial Remnant, and therefore Moff Gideon, have a substantial amount of data available to them, going back not only to Imperial times, but also during the Republic days. So you can see how powerful the Empire and the Imperial Remnant, now that they're trying to get back together, band together, and go against the New Republic, how powerful they actually are. Their arms stretch long into a lot of sectors and a lot of industries. You can see that the Imperial Remnant has a lot of data on their hands, and as I said, if they have the data available to go back and see Ahsoka's history down to which Jedi she served under during the Clone Wars, then how back does their intelligence actually go? And also, what other data is available from the Inquisitorius on that data pad? I was really disappointed that Thrawn didn't read out a whole lot more than just Ahsoka's master, something that we already knew. Perhaps there should have been tidbits in there that we are not familiar with yet, and that would have been pretty cool to know too. But as we've seen at the end of the previous episode, Thrawn had requested every bit of information on this Jedi, such as background, history, including the identity of her master. However, it seems though as Thrawn was really not expecting for this to be the news, someone he very much knew personally. I mean, visibly, he is shocked when he sees this, when he realizes who she actually is, because clearly, since he didn't know who was the master of Ahsoka Tano, then he wasn't aware back then when he met Anakin during the Clone Wars and when he served with Darth Vader that he actually had an apprentice. He had no idea. This is the first time he realizes that Anakin/Vader had an apprentice back in his day. Knowing what he knows about Anakin/Vader, well, naturally, this is the first moment I think Thrawn actually felt a bit of fear in his pantaloons. So with that in mind, let's talk about Thrawn's and Anakin's connection before we get to how much of a genius Thrawn showed himself to be. You see, to understand everything, you have to know that near the end of the Clone Wars, and this is after Ahsoka Tano left the Jedi Order, that's why Thrawn does not know about Ahsoka. Anakin and Thrawn had met each other by that point, and they met each other on the planet Batuu. We see this in the novel Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn. There it is revealed that Mithra Narado Thrawn was actually a captain in the Chiss Ascendancy located in the unknown regions, but Thrawn had ventured to the known galaxy to seek allies and new technology, a mission that wasn't sanctioned by his commanders. He soon thereafter met with Anakin Skywalker, a Jedi Knight who himself was on an unsanctioned mission to rescue Padme, with whom the Republic had lost contact with. So after Thrawn agrees to help Anakin and rescue Padme Amidala, Anakin promises Thrawn information about the Clone Wars and its ongoing galactic politics. Immediately, this shows that Thrawn and Anakin shared a very kinship connection. Both of them had the keen ability to break the rules whenever it was necessary, and both of them wanted something personal in exchange. I mean, Anakin divulging secret information about the Republic and the galactic politics involving the Clone Wars is not an easy feat. He essentially did espionage for Thrawn just to save Padme. So of course, Thrawn being who he is, he has deducted that Anakin is not your typical Jedi. Plus, along their adventures, Thrawn deduces that both of them have unconventional tactics as warriors, and as commanders they would do anything to achieve victory. So following their mission, which ended with finding Padme and the destruction of a separatist droid factory, Thrawn also procured a deflector shield generator for his people. This is the moment when Anakin and Thrawn parted ways, and it's the first time in Star Wars canon that the Republic had ever interacted with a member of the Chiss Ascendancy. Now, fast forward to Imperial times. Thrawn would return to the known galaxy, having been exiled by his own people, the Chiss. In actuality, this was a ruse because he sought allies. Thrawn was then taken to Imperial custody and granted an audience with Emperor Palpatine himself. This is the moment when Thrawn chose to mention the name Anakin Skywalker, a Jedi that would vouch for him. Thrawn was saddened, of course, to learn that Anakin had died during Order 66. Palpatine told him himself. You could see that in the comics. Of course, Palpatine was secretly trying to probe Thrawn to see what he knew and what he didn't. Thrawn was informed about the end of the Clone Wars and the rise of the Empire, and gaining the Emperor's trust and favor by swearing his allegiance and offering knowledge of the unknown regions. This is how Thrawn was recruited into the Imperial Navy as one of the only aliens in the entire Empire. Thrawn, though, quickly rose through the ranks and became eventually a Grand Admiral of the 7th Fleet, where he was tasked with eliminating cells of rebellion, as seen in the Star Wars Rebels series. In the novel, though, Thrawn alliances, they jump ahead to this period too, because Palpatine had sensed a disturbance in the Force, and he had Thrawn join forces with Darth Vader to investigate the world of Batuu, a clear mirror to their shared past. In Palpatine's mind, Thrawn and Vader were his two most useful servants. This was a shared mission to protect the supply lines to the Death Star that were under attack by the rivals of the Chiss known as the Grisk hegemony. It was during this time that Thrawn accurately deduced that Anakin and Vader were one and the same. He recognized the tactics he once saw in action during the Clone Wars. He threw hints out there that he perhaps knew the truth about Anakin being Vader, but Thrawn had enough presence of mind to keep that secret guarded to himself because he knew that he couldn't survive Vader's wrath. And this is what comes now. Ahsoka is at that point where Thrawn doesn't know if she has completely invoked her master. Since he was, alas, afraid of Darth Vader, he now is afraid of Ahsoka too, knowing that if Anakin Vader had trained this apprentice, then who knows what she is capable of. Of course, we have to talk about the demise of the Empire and the defeat of both Palpatine and Vader during the Battle of Endor. Thrawn now stands as the best military leader to take over the Imperial remnant, as we clearly see. He thinks that this is how the Empire will be back to power. However, his exile into another galaxy is something that he needs to get out of, and this is where the fear comes in. Knowing that Ahsoka is the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker fills him with doubt that he will able to pull this off. But now after the finale, I am extremely excited to see what Season 2 holds for Thrawn, because Leia and Luke are both formidable opponents, both a military general and a Grand Jedi Master.